I think it's time to go into our favorite section about what ifs. And I think I would like to ask you about one big moment. I think we already touched upon one of the most favorite moments in Indian fan history and cricket history as well. What if the 2001 Kolkata Test match or that series would have fallen a bit differently? Things would have happened differently. What impact on the Australian dynasty and when we think about it?
See, just to put the record straight, this Australian team was dominating, probably the most dominating team that we have seen in our lifetimes. They were a dynasty, and nothing that happened around that time could have changed that. If Australian team would have won that Kolkata Test, I think they would have ended up steamrolling even India, 3-0 in India, which was also their final frontier. It still amazes me coming to India and being the favorites and then dominating the first match that the way they did, and it required an absolute miracle of an innings by VVS Lakshman and Dravid to deny them that win in Kolkata, and then again an
A
amazing
lot of
performance
dodgy
by
decisions on the final day of Kolkata Test, which a lot of people don't like to talk about.
yeah, absolutely. So I think in terms of how the team would have evolved, they would still have been a dynasty. The thing that would have changed is probably Indians not getting that moment of pride that they had after that Kolkata match. Chetan Bhagat losing out on that book probably, and yeah. But apart from that, I think psychologically a lot of teams would have still felt that this Australian team is quite invincible, and that would have been a huge barrier in the back of their minds. As you said, their win was inevitable, and it took a miracle to break that streak. The Kolkata match was that, and probably in absence of that, they would have stacked up maybe 20, 25 consecutive test wins. We don't know about that, but probably just a record that would have been too huge to break. So with that, I have one what if for you as well, as I know you are a big fan of the Ashes series, and I know you have been following them since a very long time, and I know one of your favorite and one of the best Ashes series of all times was 2005, and one of the matches, Glenn McGrath actually was ruled out because he twisted his ankle before the match, and that was a very pivotal point in that series. So what if McGrath didn't twist his ankle and was fit to play that match?
Yeah, that was the start of the second test match. They had one at Lords, 1-0 up. A lot of things went. I mean, if McGrath was fit, Australia was winning that series comfortably. We have talked about it in the past as well in season one. And then there were things that got really close. Edgbaston losing by 2 runs, some decisions going in either way in pre-DRS era, things would have happened. As I said earlier, if I see a certain team is reigning winner of series away in India, South Africa, and England, I think that's a dynasty in itself. And they were once close to doing that in India, which we talked about in the final frontier. And now, because they won 2004 in India, they were always winning in South Africa. They will just trounce New Zealand, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. This was, in a way, another frontier. If they would have done it against that formidable and like high vibe England team, I think that would have been the killer thing to West Indies and Australia. I mean, West Indies has got that nostalgic element everyone looks at, respect and fear. But if they would have done it statistically, I mean, they're already really top there, but I think they would have superseded. And I think that was a big sliding door moment because you know how media works as well. English media raised that, okay, Hayden exposed, Gilchrist exposed, Hoggard has got him, Simon Jones has got him. I mean, it was like a perfect storm that somehow Australia, even the great Australian team, could not pass.
Absolutely. So
I have a
let's.
point for you around people often say when we think about why things did not work out in the really long run, and was the switch from War to Ponting worked very well, but from Ponting to Clark maybe not that well. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about the team culture, the ethos, and I feel the war to Ponting transition was almost natural. Very similar kinds of leaders, very aggressive on field, very strong mentally, have this very clear vision of how the team should play, and that also showed up in the way they played and dominated cricket at that point of time. But from Ponting to Michael Clark, I feel with everything that was going on around India coming to Australia, Monkey Gate scandal happening, I think there was a bit of that softening of that edge that Australian team had. Michael Clark, although tactically very astute,
Great
and
tactical, methodical. I also feel that when he became captain, even though he had this kind of a friction with Ponting on style of leadership and style of captaincy, he kept Ponting far too long. And Ponting was also like Kohli, which Kimber talks about a lot recently, that they just went on for too long. But I think even with or without Ponting, they did not have the right bowling ingredients available, and missing of Gilchrist was a big factor. But yeah, definitely. I mean, within Clark, you heard a lot more about rumblings inside the dressing room as well.
Yeah, and that is such a big factor, something that as fans we don't think as much about, of what the environment within the dressing room is and the role that the captain has in ensuring that the dressing room is aligned towards the team's objectives and everyone feels that they know their roles, they know what they have to do day in and day out for the team. Now, I have another what if for you. And this is the Adam Gilchrist effect. What if Australia hadn't discovered a player like Adam Gilchrist who could completely turn around what a keeper meant for a team in cricket? And what if Australia had Adam Gilchrist, but we spoke about it offline as well. He did not have a very good start to his career. What if he was dropped and never called back?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that a big moment was actually him moving from North New South Wales to Western Australia. If he would have delayed on that move and wasn't playing regular cricket, because I know Western Australian crowd also did not like him when he went over there. If these things affected him, uh, even I think his debut was in Gabba. He played well actually in that game, but again, the Gabba crowd did not like it too much. If these things did not work out, a freak injury, anything could have happened. Australia would have lost out like a Jack Callis kind of a thing. He's literally playing with 12 players with him in the team. So aggressive, game changer. You wouldn't expect like a number seven to come out there when your opposition bowlers are tired at 80 over 90 over mark. He was like a complete game changer, and I think without him, this team is not dominant at all. Even though you might have had a like a Harden in, but you wouldn't get that consistency. You wouldn't get that thing. And there were moments as well. 2005 Ashes we talked about. Gilchrist was in awful form. He hadn't done well in India as well back in 2001. In 2005 itself, he walked off against Bangladesh like he often did, and some analyst and the team itself did not like it. These are the moments. If he would have been chucked off, maybe the 2007 whitewash of England wouldn't have happened. So there were moments, even though he was fairly consistent. I think if Gilchrist somehow did not cope up with his initial troubles in domestic cricket well, uh, I think he could have been lost in this Australian system, because you had so much talent coming through. If you don't perform well, uh, and if you're not trusted enough by the system, you could have lost away. And I think Australia would have lost a big cricketer. So there you have it, guys. I think from Clive Lloyd to Steve Waugh, from Ambrose to McGrath, from domination to dismantling, dynasties tell a lot about the game that we really love and the legacy around it. Australia didn't just dominate, they changed the very expectation of what you expect from a great team.
Yeah, and as we reflect on that golden generation, we ask, will the world ever see such domination again? And or has cricket moved past that age where a single team could dominate like the Australians did back in the 90s and 2000s?
Yeah, the Rocco generation is off. Now we are in Gill season, as we like to say. So maybe this is the thing, or maybe the Australian cricket will continue to transition well, and maybe they will learn from the last experience and transition even better this time, and so that they will be so dominant. But there you have it, guys. This was today's episode. Thank you for tuning in, and you will see a lot from us on social media platforms and on YouTube. And till the next time, take care. Bye bye.